So we got a question come through as to what one of the reasons or many reasons why golfers may move their head to the right during the backswing. And in a measure, it might not be the worst thing. It's when it becomes too much. To actually try and hold the head absolutely dead still is tricky. So, you know, within reason, it's not the end of the world, but you certainly wouldn't want to see as much as half the head move to the right. Now, personally, I feel that one of the reasons why players do this is you're so concerned about staying in your posture. This is a phrase we hear a lot, and maintaining the forward bend, especially in the backswing. So you've created this inclination to the ground, and then during the backswing, trying your best to maintain that inclination as we go into the backswing. The problem is we've forgotten one key element, which is to side bend. And I know that sounds like a lot to take in, but you'll soon see what we mean in a second. There has to be an element of this in the backswing coupled with this to help the head stay centered. If all we're doing is keeping our forward bend, then we're going to see the head shift a little bit to the right. So let me see if I can just show you here with a couple of golf balls. So if you imagine me holding one by my shirt buttons and one by my belt buckle, when the player's head moves too much to the right in the backswing, these two aren't actually getting any further apart. They're essentially staying the same distance as the player makes the backswing. Now what we want to try and do is actually separate them a little bit, okay? So as we go into the backswing, get the feeling of actually facing your chest and trying to point your chest a little more skyward. So you can see as we're doing that, if I go this way, then we're going to have some side bend, some rotation, and the player's chest now looks a little more skyward as opposed to the ball on my shirt buttons staying facing the ground. So don't be afraid to create a little bit of a feeling of this in the backswing, whereby your chest is going to face upwards and almost separating the distance between your belt buckle and your top shirt button. Let's see if we can show you. So for those of you who feel like the head is shifting too much to the right, and if you've ever done a drill whereby you've done some practice with the door frame here, and you've done this exercise, you will feel this sort of stretch, and that'll give you a very different sensation. So what we're trying to avoid is the dreaded head chaser, where we stay in that forward bend, but of course we don't have any of this extension and side bend going into the backswing. So just create a few swings whereby if you had a torchlight here shining out of your chest, we're going to try and point that torchlight a little more up towards the sky, so it's going to look a little more this regard. Okay, another one of those, so you can sort of see, isn't that feeling of my chest starting to face skyward a little bit more rather than staying down at the ground for too long. And then we can go ahead and make that movement and get that nice feel of this sort of stretch in the backswing. So if you feel like your head moves a bit too much to the right, don't be afraid to give that a go. Get this feeling of the chest starting to face a little more skyward at the top of the backswing.